Hi guys, so we'll be going through the V2 version of the Cora Presence Bus app and system. So we'll be starting by discussing the agenda of the V2 version. So we introduced the V2 version because in the V1 version we used to directly assign student to the buses. We usually do is we just directly search for a student and we directly assign to the bus. So the requirement for V2 version was that in a single bus we needed to assign multiple students traveling at multiple times in a multiple trips. So for example, we'll be taking the situation of KG students here. So as you know, KG students will be having their classes over earlier than the other set of students, but both of them are assigned to a single bus. So consider the situation here. So imagine the KG students classes are over by 12:30 and the other set of students have class till 4. So the same bus will be taking the KG students at 12:30, dropping them at their respective homes, then coming back and collecting the other set of students at 4. So the problem here when we assign all the students together in the single bus will be, it will be tracking all the students because all the students have been assigned to the single bus. So it will be an issue, right? Because all the set of students are not there in a single trip, but all of them are tracked. So we need them to be separate. We need the KG set of students to be separate considered to the other set of students. So what we can do is, instead of directly assigning students to bus, we have introduced a new idea where we assign students directly to trips. So in order to give you more context about what a trip is a single journey of the bus. That is, the bus going from collecting students from their homes to the bus to the school, or coming back from school dropping the students to their homes. So a single journey of a bus is called a trip. So as you have understood what trip is, we'll be continuing. So instead of directly assigning students to buses, we are assigning students to trips. So this will solve the issue of direct bus assignment. So we won't be assigning students directly to buses anymore. That is, we won't be adding bus students to the buses here. We will be assigning students to trips. So we have introduced new two concepts called as batches and routes to enable this direct assignment of students to trips. This is our routes page. This is the newly introduced routes page in the V2 version. So I'll be explaining you what batches and routes are. So we'll be starting with what a batch is. So a batch is just a collection of students. So it doesn't have any other set of rules. It's just a collection of students. You can make that collection however you want. This is introduced because it will make us very easy to assign students to a trip. That is, would be very hard to add student by student to a trip. It will be, as we have told, we are directly assigning students to trips instead of buses. So it will be very hard to add student by student to a trip. So we'll be creating a set of students or a batch of students. So batches are nothing else, just a collection of students. So we'll be naming it as like KG students. Okay, and we created the batch. So the batch has been created. So we'll be adding the students respective to KG section. Okay, so this is the students page. So this is the all students created in the system. So from this we can just select which students should be assigned to the bus. So these are all available set of students, and these are the students assigned to that batch. So imagine all these students are belonging to the KG section. So I'm adding 3 students. Consider these students are of KG section. So what I have done now is I added all those students to a batch named as KG section. So what I can do with this batch is, when I'm creating a trip, I can add this batch to that trip. So it will be very easy to assign students to a trip. Instead of assigning student by student, we can just create a set of students and keep it there. And whenever we want to assign that set of students to a trip, we can just add this batch to that trip. So next I will be explaining what a route is. So route is just a template for a trip. So a route explains whatever the details of a trip is. So a route explains whatever default trips a bus travels per day. So for example, I will be creating a route. So imagine that a bus goes 3 trips per day. One morning trip which carries all the students from their respective home to the school. Then 2 evening trips, one for the KG set of students who will be traveling 12:30 or 1 after their classes back to their home. After that trip, the bus will be coming back and taking the other set of students whose classes will be over by 4, we'll imagine. So we have 3 trips, so we'll be creating 3 routes. So I'll be creating one more batch for all the set of students who will be traveling to school from from their home to the school during the morning section. Okay, so I'll be creating one more batch for all the set of students who will be traveling to school in the morning trip. So we'll just name it as morning batch or morning group. This contains all the set of students who will be traveling to the school in morning, because morning doesn't have multiple trips, right? So it will be a single trip which carries all the set of students to the school. So okay, so the batch has been created successfully. So we will be adding the same. So you have to check it. We are adding the same set of students along with few others. Imagine these others who have I added are the students from evening section. Like they have class till 4. They are like normal set of students. And the first three, as you know, we have already added them to the KG section. So for now, I'm adding all set of students. So as you can see, batches doesn't have any regulation. You can create, it's just a template for the set of students. You can add whatever students you want, you can remove whatever students you want. It's just a set or a bunch of students grouped together. So I have created this. So I have added 5 students to this batch. So 5 students has been added to the morning batch. So the morning batch now has 5 students, and the KG students batch has 3 students. So morning batch has extra 2 students who doesn't belong to the KG section. So we'll be creating separate batch for these set of students. So evening batch. So these two students which doesn't belong to the KG section who has been there in the morning section, I created a separate batch called evening section. So these guys will be going after the KG section of students have already completed their trip. So right now I've created 3 batches. So one for the KG section of students who will be leaving early, one for the morning section, it contains all the set of students who are coming to the school in that particular trip, and the other set of students who are not going with the KG section but after that trip in the late afternoon trip. So right now we have 3 batches. So we'll be creating 3 routes for 3 respective trips. So as I've already discussed, route is just a detailed collection with a template which explains the details of a specific trip. So I'll be creating 3 respective routes for 3 respective trips. So for one for the morning section, morning trip, which is to school, we'll schedule it for 8 o'clock, which contains the morning batch of students, and we'll create other route for KG students who will be coming back, for example 12:30. Then I will be creating one more batch for the evening set of students who will be coming back at 4. So currently we have created 3 routes. So one route for the morning section and 2 routes for the evening section. So as you have seen, we have created 3 trips. So what now happens is, when the bus attendant open their phone and they start a trip, the trip will be start based on this order. So it will be considering the current time, then it will be comparing what trip is the closest, then it will be initiating that respective trip. So there is no difference in the bus or parent app. So the only difference we have created is in the logic how we assign students to the bus. Instead of directly assigning students to the buses, we are assigning them to the trip. And to make it more easier, we have introduced routes and batches, where batches are just a set of collection of students, which makes it easier to assign that set of collection of students to the trips. And we have created routes, which just explains a template or a collection of details for a specific trip. which contains the details of two school and the section or the batch we have assigned and the time which the section starts. So we have to be very careful that based on this time where we have scheduled, the trip will be initiated in the bus app. So when the bus attendant just starts the trip, the the system will be checking for the current time. Then it will be comparing to the time of the trips assigned. So which is the closest trip, it will be initiating that. So this is the V2 version of the system. I think I've covered everything. If you have doubt, please DM me.